Okay, brothers and sisters, what vision will win the war of Armageddon? We talk about that. We got two visions. We got the one on the right, that's continuation of the biological creation that we brought into existence from the beginning, the universe expanding, and now we're going to, it's perfected it, and now we're getting ready to enjoy it. See, we're going to take it to greater heights than ever before. See, because the angels has been elevated to gods. We're all gods, but you had lesser gods and greater gods. Now all the angels have been lifted up, all to total godhood, and we're going to make all things new. Created, going to take the creation, takes it high. It's already been perfected. It's already perfected. But we're going to take it to extraordinary levels. You can't even imagine it. You can't even imagine how it's going to be once we get to paradise. But it's going to just get better and better and better for the next 76 trillion years. So how can you even imagine that? It just keeps getting better. How can you imagine how it's going to be 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now? So some of you will be around 800 years from now, 900 years. I don't think any of you want to live more than 1,000 years because you want to renew yourself because we're going to get bigger and more powerful, right? So if you're walking around, you're 6 feet tall, 1,000 years from now, people might be 9 feet tall. You want to be a little run around here? No, you want to renew yourself. Take 4 birds, teach them to climb to you, put them on all mountains, all the mountains, call them, come you flying. See, you're immortal, brothers and sisters. You're immortal. Okay. So what vision? It's 2 visions. They have their vision. We're not including their vision. And we have our vision. They're not including our vision. One of these visions will win. One is a biological vision. That's the universe that they're tearing up. Remember, they're tearing this biological universe. They're tearing up this biological reality. They call it global warming and all this stuff. They're tearing up the biological. That's our world. They're tearing it up. They're destroying it. And they're bringing this mechanical world. Cyborgs. We're cyborgs, not a robot. It's a mechanical body with a biological brain. Look around. They're destroying our world. You don't understand it. They're doing it purposely. They couldn't help but do it anyway. But anyway, now it's taking on a purpose. Because in destroying our biological world, we get destroyed in the process. See? They're trying to bring in a mechanical world. Just look at it. Look into it. See? Here's their vision. See? They tune in. We talk about tune in. They'll be able to do that. They do it now with laptops. I mean, with iPhones and cell phone. They carrying on. So all they got to do is implant in their head, which they're already working on. Then they can mechanically tune in. Mechanically tune in. So we can do it biologically. They do it mechanically. All the things that we can do, they try to learn to do mechanically. So they can bring the mechanical world, which we will not be in. It will be destructive for us. See, because the whole environment will be destructive. So you say, world global warming, once they achieve that body, they don't have to worry about global warming. They don't have to worry about messed up biology, because it's not going to mess the biological system. They ain't going to worry about that because they got a mechanical body. A car doesn't care if it's raining or not. And it's a computerized mechanical body. That means they can see what they want to see and feel what they want to feel. Time distortion. Say they're in Bahamas for 20 years. When your dreams, how long you think your dreams last? A few seconds. You think it lasts a long time. Time distortion. They work on all those type of things. That's the new world they're bringing in, and you're not in it. And you get closer and closer to it every day. But they had to steal your creative power to get to it. They almost got there. Then they definitely don't need you anymore. See? That's the world they're trying to bring in. Mechanical world. Destroying your biological world. You don't need trees and all that stuff anymore. See? They got a pure desert. It won't be a desert to them. It's like looking at TV, right? So you can make your world look like you want it to look. It's like this right here. Look, they can take and remove my background. So you look like I don't have a background. I'm in a different place where you think other than what I am. You have no idea, brothers and sisters. Those of you who have some kind of ID or IT have some idea what I'm talking about. Now, what we're going to focus on, and I'm going to have on different ones, we're going to focus on torque, the second mathematical pillar of Islam. So we're going to get into it. Not thoroughly, well, pretty thorough. We're really going to get into it. See, because this has a very powerful message in relative to those two visions. Torque. See, the second pillar of this mathematical pillar of Islam is what they call salats. See, salats is, when you understand it, it's reciting the Quran. The Quran tells you that's prayer. So you had the wrong idea about prayer. But that came as a result of 35,000 years ago. Reciting the Quran is the prayer. It says in the Jesus said, you don't even have to pray in the hereafter. So you got to get next to that one. Because they don't understand the nature of prayer. So what the prayer they tell you now is a shadow of what it was and what it will be. So your heart is the governor of your circulatory system. Circulatory means it's spinning, right? Blood spinning around through the heart. God governs it. That means anything spinning produces torque. Produces torque. But your heart also vibrates. Anything vibrates produces pressure waves. See? And not only that, but it vibrates at different frequencies, from very firm to very weak. So here you got your spinning, right? You got your waves, vibration wave, and you got the tuning fork, which represents, right, how firm it is. How firm your heart is. That's three aspects of your heart. All three of these are scientifically known. Circulatory system, right? How firm your heart is, right? And it's frequency, it's vibrations. It vibrates. That's what they call beating. So that means it produces sound waves. Anything vibrates produces sound waves. So here you go. Here's your heart, right? Producing sound waves, vibrating. See? It's producing them. I mean, anything beats, right? It produces waves, pressure waves. That's what heart is, a pump, pressure. So it's producing waves that you can hear. In fact, you are hearing them. You just don't know it. That's what you're hearing. That's what you're hearing. It's like you're in a crowded room. Everybody's talking. In a crowd where everybody's talking, you can't think. Quiet, quiet, I can't think. Because that's what you're hearing. You're hearing everyone's heart beating. You hear everyone's heart beating. That's what you're hearing. See? So we're going to explain that in a minute. You're hearing all of it. Static. Might call it static. See? Because you're hearing everybody, so you can't distinguish who's saying what. Everybody's talking specifically about a certain thing, but talking all together, you can't sort it out. See? So you think, that's the way you're thinking. Let's talk about that. We'll go into that. See here? Heart beating, producing pressure waves. That's what the ear is designed to hear. That's what the ear does. Ear hears everything. Even though you may not realize you're hearing everything. Anything, any sound waves, you hear it. Some of it on a conscious level, some unconscious level, but you're hearing it all. Your heart beating is producing that. See? Your ear is hearing it all. See? And the frequency, right? Depending on the nature of the heart that's producing it. So in other words, the heart is producing it, the ear is hearing it. You're not only hearing theirs, you're hearing yours too. Hearing your heart also. You're hearing everybody's heart and yours. You're hearing it all. See? You're hearing it all. Yours and everyone else's. You're hearing it all, every bit of it. But it's like your heart is also an antenna. See, because receiving is not only transmitting, it's also receiving. It's transmitting, right? And it's receiving. Because responding is transmitting, by beating, is transmitting, right? Vibrations. But it's also picking up on the vibrations from everyone else, all other hearts. So it's transmitting and it's receiving. Very important. Now, see here? You have the brain, you have the heart, have the ears. They're all connected. I'll show that in a second. All connected. Now, when you see, you don't actually see what you think you see. What you see, the light comes to your eyes, but the brain translates it. That's how you get fooled with optical illusions and things. Because what comes to your eyes, your brain gets it and then it interprets it, and that's what you see, what your brain interprets. You got brain's the filter. See? Same thing. Your heart beats, right? All the heart's beating, the vibrations, your ear picking it up. See? And the brain's translating what it means. See? When you hear something, it don't go straight to your brain first. It goes, your heart picks it up first. Your heart is receiving it. It then transmits it back to the brain. You think that's not true? Okay, you've been startled. Ever been startled before? Right? Sudden sound, bam, all of a sudden your heart starts beating. And then you figure out it wasn't nothing. You see what I'm saying? Your heart got it first. People get heart attacks and stuff because your heart gets it first before your brain can figure out there's nothing to worry about. Figure out what it is, how to react to it. But you get startled first because your heart picks up first. Your heart receives it. The heart and the brain and the ears are connected, along with the voice. All those are connected. But we're not going to talk about the voice here, right? See, we can get past the voice. You understand that? That's what's happening here. Here picks up the vibrations, transmits right to the heart. Heart responds and transmits the information back to the brain. The brain translates it to figure out what to do with it. Which means the language of hearts are universal. Because it doesn't matter whether you speak English, whatever. Your heart doesn't beat differently depending on the language. That language is immaterial. See, that's something that happens when the brain gets it, then the brain translates it into something else. See, if you get startled, right, you might say, ooh, ow, whatever. Well, that comes from the brain. The brain took that information, translates to English, French, or whatever. That's the brain doing that. Here you go. See, there's a heart vibrating out there. Hearts, everybody's heart vibrating. Your ear picks it up, transfers that to the heart, right? Depends on the firmness of the heart, right? How the heart reacts to it. That's that tuning fork there. Pass that information to the brain. The brain translates it to a language or whatever. That's the sequence right there. So over here on the left, that's all the hearts in the world. And your ears are picking all those vibrations. Picking them all up. You're picking up right now. See? But what's happening here? Okay. That's why I call it tuning in. My first place when everybody's right. So you have to tune in. So you find, tune into one particular person, so you know what they're talking about. That's what happens. That's what a tuning fork is. Because coming in and your heart is not firm, so therefore it can't distinguish. So it transfers all that information to the brain. Because it's fine-tuned, then it can single out a particular vibration and send that to the brain, so you know exactly what heart is coming from. But if your heart is not tuned, right, it's not firm, because it's an antenna. The more firm your heart is, the better reception is. The more fine-tuned the reception is. The more firm your heart is, the more fine-tuned the reception. You understand? The less. That's why you got crazy people, right? They have no hearts all, so they don't know where it's coming from. Might be coming from them, might be coming from anybody. Let's see what's next here. Okay, let's go back. Okay. So this is the heart of it. This is why Farad made Salat 6 to 8 hours a night, because it makes his heart firm. So his heart be firm, right? That means the signals coming in, he can distinguish who is coming from. That's tuning in. That's why they call it tuning in. But you getting all this, you can't do that. And the more firm your heart is, because if your heart is weak, then you might hear a voice, you're getting stuff in. Because your thoughts is not your thoughts. You get all these thoughts in, but you think they're yours. No, it's a compass. It's all everybody. It's everybody's mixed in. But it depends on how firm your heart is, the more control you have over your particular one. Yours will dominate. But if yours is weaker, then you get mixed in. So you're doing things that you don't even know what you're doing. You're doing what everybody wants you to do, right? And then it could be so bad you hear voices. And you are hearing voices. The other body's controlling you, because you lost control yourself. So you hear other parts are controlling you. That's how people go insane, hearing voices and stuff, because other parts, because their heart's so weak that they have no control of their own vibration heart. See, so a signal they get into the brain is a signal, the primary signal is from someone else or a group of someone else's. So that's why you got a lot of people walking ahead thinking they transgender, all that kind of stuff, because that's what's going on right now. And so it's in their mind, they think that's what they think, because it's like peer pressure. Only way you avoid that is you got to start firm your heart until you get to the point where so you know your own thoughts, because most of us don't know our own thoughts. That's why people act like they're acting now up with the masses of brain, mass software, devil software, because they have no control over their heart's not firm enough, so they don't even know who they are. Because what they've been transmitted to the brain is all these different vibrations. And they think that's them. They think that's them. Because they've received all these information, they think that's them. They can't distinguish whether it's who is. So they think it's them. They think that's their thought pattern when it's not. So you act other than yourself because your heart is so weak that you think all this information is coming from you. And so now you acting this way, acting that way, and everything else acting out of control, because all this information is coming from all over the place and you can't distinguish it. But once you start making slots, that's what the whole point of reciting the Quran. I do at least an hour a day, right? Should do it 3, 4, 5. If I could do it, I tried 3 hours and almost killed me. It's very hard to do it. It's not easy. But you firm your heart up. So therefore, but it also depends, because when you're born, some people have stronger, firmer hearts than other people, just born that way. The God has the strongest. He's born with the strongest. See? I was born with because I always knew myself. So I was always different from everybody else. I didn't want interest in all that other stuff. I didn't know why. They didn't like me. I had a problem with the sisters when I was growing up because I, I want to talk about science and stuff. They don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to talk about religions. They didn't want to talk about that kind of stuff. I wasn't down with all that other stuff they was doing. That was me. I didn't realize why it was. And Elijah Muhammad tell you, he says, wait till you about the science. He said, Allah has the firmest, so he can distinguish everyone's. See, because he's so firm, he can distinguish everyone. See, even all the scientists. But the scientists can't get to him because their heart's not firm as him. So they can't pick up him or him, right? But he can pick up on them. But they can pick up on everybody else. That's what it's talked about. That's what you understand, brothers. If you're not made of slots, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. You don't know yourself. You start making those slots, right? Then you start finding who you are because now your thoughts distinguish between, now you can distinguish between your thoughts, your personal thoughts, and all other thoughts that's bombarding your, because you're hearing all of that. You're hearing all of it. But you think it's you because it'll go into your heart and you think that's you. You don't know who you are. You start making slots. All of a sudden you start finding out, you start distinguishing between you and all the thoughts out there, start changing, right? You start becoming yourself because now you know who you are. Well, you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. You can't have it. You can get the angel, right? But if you ain't making these slots, right, you're gonna be. They're gonna snatch it away from you. Snatch away from you. In fact, you gotta be careful because maybe the only reason why you got the angel because you're around people that got it. So you're not even down with it yourself. You're only with it because the people around you are with it. Hope you understand that, bro and sis. Very important. I don't think I need to say any more about that. That's how tuning in works. You're picking up right now. You ain't tuned in because your heart's not firm. So therefore, you need a firm antenna to pick it up. Your heart's the antenna. See? So it's all static. And you think that's your thoughts. It's not. Once you start making slots, you start distinguishing between your thoughts and everybody else's. That's the first step. Now you're independent. Now you know who you are. Then if you go further, then you get to the point where you start distinguishing everybody else's thought. Then you know this thought comes from that person, that thought from this person, that thought from this person, and then you can deal with that person. And when they get to the point, then you can communicate with them just like you communicate from. Because when they get to the point where they can distinguish them, you can communicate each other, right? Because when you're thinking, that's what Elijah Muhammad said. You hear sound, you hear voice. I'm telling you. So how are you gonna hear a voice? Because it comes from your hearing. See? So then you get then you know where it's coming from. And they'll know where it's coming from, so you communicate back and forth instinct to that individual. All over the planet. Because you're picking up the hearts of everybody on the planet. And that's the problem right here. Because right now, all these hearts, masses' hearts, they're evil. And they transmit all this stuff. So now we're in love with dogs, right? We out here eating pork. We all doing all the stuff they do. That's against us. Because we pick up all this stuff and we think that's what we like. But we're not happy. And we have all kinds of traumas, right? And high blood pressure, low blood pressure, hypertension. Because we're not happy, because those thoughts not ours. So we act on ourselves because we in a country here with all this stuff. And see, the closer they're around you, the more impact they have. So people around you have more impact because they're closer. So they transmit more, their transmission is more powerful. So we're around here in America where it's really worse. Look how bad it's getting. And so now all our people all of a sudden think they're transgender and all this kind of stuff. They ain't. Now some of them are. Because of slavery. Because they forced mothers to sleep with their son and all kind of stuff. That will cause that condition. They're natural. They're natural. They're born that way. They're not lying. They're born. That's the way they are. But a lot of it is because that's what it says. It says many of you were like that. You wasn't like that because that was your nature. You was like that because of this. Because they got you thinking that's the way you are. Because your heart is weak, and so therefore you can't distinguish the thoughts they have and your own thoughts. You think those are your thoughts, and you act on them, and then you're not happy. Because even though you still can't be happy because those thoughts are still against you. So you're doing things you're not happy doing, but you're doing them anyway. You see what the Bible says? Why am I doing things that? Who can rescue me from this condition? I do things I should not do. I do things I don't even want to do. It's telling you that. Maybe I'll display the quote after this. Understand, brothers and sisters? That's the situation. I hope I explained it clear enough. That's what we're dealing with. See? So you need the high priest, right, to start putting out these positive ones out here. That helps you. That's like a spotter, right? But you got to do the lifting. See? Because if you sit there and don't do a lifting, then you're not coming. So you have to start doing the slots because he can spot you, right? Getting the positive vibrations out. That's what the angel is supposed to do. Start putting the positive ways out there. But the point is not going to do you no good if you don't start from your heart up so you can start find who you are. Because you have to have a thorough, it didn't say I have to have a thorough knowledge of you. You have a thorough knowledge of yourself. I told you, bro, a lot of stuff we need to talk about. But you ain't ready for it yet. But I think you should be ready for this one. So I plan to go into each one of those 5 pillars in much more detail. I keep telling you, bro, there's lots of stuff I could talk to you about, but I can't because you're not ready for it. I keep telling you that, and I keep proving it to you. Now check this out. Check it out. Study it thoroughly. But this is very powerful right here. So I told you about slots, but I didn't go into it like this. I told you how torque, uprighting force, right? But I didn't tell you about the frequencies and vibrations, all that kind of stuff. See, explain to you how tuning in work. Because you can do it. If you can do 5, 6, 7 hours a day, right, making reciting, and you got to recite it right. You just can't. In the name of Allah, no. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. You got to put every syllable slow. You can't rush through it. Otherwise, you waste your time. It's like somebody lifting weight, they doing like this. Man, you got to do a full extension. Hey, man, I'm lifting 10,000 pounds. No, full extension. Got to do it right. Take your time. See? I can't do it. I'm not trying to do it. See? But it builds up. It's cumulative. So I'm getting better and better. I've been doing so long, right? I've had experiences, right? But we have so much energy that it'd be easy to do it like Farad said. He said, we'll be like him. When he appears, we'll be like him. Because he had energy to do it. He has energy to do it because his nature is the nature of the way he was born into existence. So you'd be like him. But we have so much energy as we move in further into the hereafter, right? Our hearts be so firm, we won't even need to recite anymore. We have another book, not we past it, be even more a better book. But after a while, our hearts be so firm, we won't even do that. We just, right? But right now we're weak, so we need to do it. And we need to do it even more so now than ever. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, assalamu alaikum.